What's going on, everyone? So, I'm a lifetime natural competitive bodybuilder. I've been consistently lifting weights since the time I was 12 and am still going strong now at age 32. That's 20 years of lifting weights. Throughout my bodybuilding journey, I've chosen to stay natural and can wholeheartedly say that I will remain natural for the rest of my life. In this video, I'm going to share with you a few of the core reasons why I've chosen to stay away from steroids and to instead focus on building the best physique I possibly can naturally. The reasons I'm about to share with you are ones that I don't think I've actually ever heard anyone else online bring up before, so they might be new to you too. I want to warn you ahead of time that I'm going to be super blunt and honest, and that in doing so, I might step on some toes. I realize that not everyone is going to agree with what I'm about to share. They are my opinions, and naturally, you might have a different opinion than my own. That said, I would love for you to drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Why or why not? Let me know. All right, let's dive in. To be blunt, I think that taking steroids is the soft, unmasculine path to take. I know that in saying that, it might leave you immediately thinking of some of the greatest enhanced bodybuilders who've ever lived, like Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath, Derek Lunsford, Chris Bumstead, and so on, and other enhanced, famous up-and-coming enhanced bodybuilders like Sam Sulek. You might be thinking, there's no way they took the soft, unmasculine path. You just can't get more hardcore than them. Honestly, I can agree with that. From what they've shown, they do seem to be hardworking, driven, and disciplined. There's almost no denying that. But even so, I do have a few arguments as to why the path they took is still not what I think the ideal one would have been. I'll share more on that in a few minutes. But before that, I wanted to touch on the vast majority of people who take steroids recreationally. Those who have no real intention of becoming a competitive enhanced bodybuilder, or at the very least, who aren't terribly serious about becoming competitive. Recreational use of steroids is often taken as a means of being a shortcut to getting super jacked in a relatively short period of time. A shortcut from what? From taking the longer path of learning how to train properly, progressing slowly, and becoming a truly skilled lifter. From learning and practicing healthy eating principles and applying them consistently. And from the amount of time it would take to see an impressive natural transformation come into fruition. Yes. Building a truly impressive physique naturally takes a significant amount of time for most people, and it takes being diligent and consistent throughout the duration of that time. It's tough. It takes discipline, determination, ongoing work ethic, and lots of mental fortitude. But see, the benefits of that long, challenging path transcends just building and developing an amazing physique. It also involves growing into a more disciplined, strong-willed, resilient person. And that is, in my opinion, even more important than building tons of muscle. By taking steroids recreationally with the intention of skipping that long, challenging path, you would rob yourself of that challenge and thereby would leave yourself getting the result, which would be a much more developed and muscular physique, but without having truly earned it. When I say I think taking steroids is the soft, unmasculine path, that's what I mean. You intend to skip the hard part. You skip the real challenge. You skip the part that leads to real mental and emotional growth. Instead of voluntarily aiming to face adversity, you choose to bypass it. That's not the masculine path. I think that the masculine path, the ideal, is to identify the challenge, choose it after fully understanding the difficult undertaking that it is, and then sticking with it and persevering throughout it. So, in my opinion, by taking steroids recreationally, you might be ironically left as an internally weak, soft, unmasculine guy in the body of a guy with big muscles. In that context, the great physique is for show. It's unearned. It's hollow. Okay, let's rewind a bit here and address the non-recreational, very serious, competitive, enhanced bodybuilders. They train like monsters, are on top of their nutrition consistently, and openly sacrifice their health, at least to some degree, to chase bodybuilding greatness. That's not what you would consider the easy or soft path at all to be, right? You're probably thinking it isn't, and that it really is the most hardcore thing that you could do. And in part, I do agree. The work ethic, openness to experiencing ongoing discomfort, and the discipline needed to become an incredible competitive enhanced bodybuilder is absolutely admirable. There's a reason why so many people look up to Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath, and Chris Bumstead. That being said, I'm going to be a bit of a contrarian here for a minute. With all of the admirable traits that it takes to become great in the enhanced bodybuilding world, I don't believe the enhanced path is ideal. I think there is a better path, and that if those great enhanced bodybuilders took that better path, overall, more good would have come out of it. I'll explain. For a second, think of all other sports outside of bodybuilding. Team sports like football, hockey, or baseball, or solo sports like gymnastics, long distance running, short distance sprinting, wrestling, martial arts, and so on. Do you know what each of those sports has in common at the highest level of competition? They all have anti-doping rules. That's right. You're not allowed to take PEDs or performance-enhancing drugs when competing in the NFL, NHL, the Olympics, you name it. Why is that? Probably because the purpose of those high-level federations and competitions is to test the natural potential of each athlete or team, not their artificial potential. When you think about it, it seems kind of weird to test athletes who are artificially enhanced, don't you think? Yes, some athletes do cheat those rules, but that's not the ideal. I can see an argument being made that it would be pretty darn cool to let athletes in those high-level competitions compete enhanced. You would get to see all of the natural records become broken and get to see how much stronger and faster each of those athletes would be. But as cool as that might be, it just wouldn't be naturally human. Perhaps a good comparison would be the difference between the Olympics and going to the circus. The circus being where you get to see the quote-unquote freaks of nature, and the Olympics being where you get to see the best of the best test their natural human limits. Now, think about enhanced bodybuilding again. The IFBB, or the most popular bodybuilding federation out there, commonly known for the Mr. Olympia competition each year, is largely untested, aside from the relatively few natural shows, which are starting to grow in number. It's common knowledge nowadays that the vast majority of successful IFBB bodybuilders are enhanced. And so what you're seeing is competitors who are competing in a state of artificiality, in a state that transcends what can be accomplished naturally. To me, it's kind of like you're seeing a competition of what isn't 100% human, and again, that's kind of weird. Honestly, I think that saying that does sound kind of abrasive, but it is true when you think about it, isn't it? You can let me know if you disagree with me in the comments below, and if you do agree, let me know below as well. As great as Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath, and Chris Bumstead are as some of the most impressive and hardworking enhanced bodybuilders who ever have lived, I think they would have been even greater if they took all of their drive, determination, and remorseless work ethic to stay natural and reach their potential that way. Again, I'm not denying their discipline, work ethic, and drive. But I do think that them aiming to reach their natural potential over their artificial potential would have been the ideal. They wouldn't have got as big, but they would have looked special in a different kind of way, I think. And no, they wouldn't have become as famous staying natural, but fame isn't what makes someone truly great, in my opinion. It's true that natural bodybuilding isn't nearly as popular to the mainstream world as enhanced bodybuilding. But on a side note, if those kinds of athletes were to choose to stay on the natural path and become truly the best natural physiques in the world, I think it would help to grow the popularity of the sport. And from a place of being hopeful, I think this is starting to happen more, with the standards and impressiveness of natural bodybuilding growing and growing. Who knows? At this rate, it could be that natural bodybuilding eventually becomes just as popular, or perhaps even more popular, compared to enhanced bodybuilding. Never say never. Okay. Although I do have a list of other reasons for personally choosing the natural path instead of the enhanced one, I wanted to share just one more point with you. Many of the greatest enhanced bodybuilders out there have a ton of reach and influence. Look at Chris Bumstead in particular, who, after winning the classic physique Mr. Olympia title 6 times in a row, has 25.5 million Instagram followers at the time this video is being recorded. From what he's shared about himself through his many YouTube videos and Instagram posts over the years, he is a great person. That's practically undeniable, right? He's shown himself to be an incredibly hard worker, someone who rightfully prioritizes his family, and someone who has a great character. And yet, to me, that all falls under the shadow of being an enhanced bodybuilder. I suspect that, again, I'm a contrarian in saying that. His most inspirational and admirable traits, like being hardworking, prioritizing his family, having a great character, in a way, kind of normalizes having an enhanced physique. It becomes easy to look at him and think, well, he's got an incredible physique, he is an incredible person, so since he's enhanced, being enhanced must also be good, or at the very least, it must be something that ought to be considered okay. But for me personally, I don't think that's a good thing. I think that the steroids taken to develop an enhanced physique are a dark thing shrouded by the cover of good in this context. And something bad in the guise of good might arguably be the worst kind of bad. Why do I think it's bad? Well, for the millions of people who he influences, they might look up at him and think, well, he's got the best physique in the world and he's enhanced. So because I look up to him, I can and maybe should take the enhanced path too. For the people who fall under the influence that are inspired to take steroids recreationally, I already addressed why I think that's a bad idea. And I've addressed why I don't think enhanced bodybuilding as a competitive sport is ideal compared to natural bodybuilding as well. In addition to that, there are a list of health considerations, risks, and dangers in taking the enhanced path as well, which I won't be addressing in this video, but perhaps in another one. All in all, I think that putting steroids in a positive light is intrinsically bad, and can't help myself but to imagine, what if Chris Bumstead took all of his amazing traits and applied them as a natural bodybuilder? Although there's a high probability he wouldn't have become as famous or had as much reach, he still might have influenced thousands or even millions of people to work hard, prioritize their families, have good character, and on top of all of that, to aim to reach their natural potential rather than their enhanced one. I think that would have been the ideal path. And that's it. I do have more reasons why I'm opposed to steroids and that support my decision to stay natural, but I'll save those for a future video. At this point, I would love to know your thoughts. I know that my opinion on the matter might be contrary to that of many others, but that some of you might agree with me wholeheartedly. Let me know what you think in the comments. Just before closing this video, I want to let you know about the work that I do. When I'm not making YouTube videos, recording podcast episodes, or making Instagram content, I work full-time as an online physique coach, where I help my clients to accomplish their fat loss and muscle growth goals by helping them to optimize their approach to strength training and nutrition. I've been doing this work since 2018 and love helping my clients to transform their bodies and ultimately their lives. If you've been considering getting some help with accomplishing your own physique goals, you're invited to hit the link in the description below to learn a little bit more about the work that I do and how I can help you. You can even use that link to schedule a free video consultation with me. If you have any questions about my coaching or how I can help you, email me at sam@jadeathletics.ca. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.